Hi everyone, welcome to Marianne's Mystic Mentions. I'm Marianne. It is absolutely an honor, a blessing, and I'm extremely grateful to be here with you, as I always am. I am going to be finishing the last 3 signs of the zodiac in the month, this beautiful month of July. I did have to take off 4 days or so. I had 2 procedures done, which are regular routine procedures, but there are also things that you had to do to prepare for them. Blah, blah, blah. Everything is great. Everything worked out wonderful. It's just keeping up with my, health and the regimens necessary for that. And just also one disclaimer, if you see this nice little bruise here, that's the IV that they used at one point. And it looks a lot worse because I can't feel a thing. So just putting that out there. Now back to the program. For those that are new, welcome to my channel. If you're new, oh my gosh, I love everyone that wants to take a peek into what it is I do. I've been a tarot reader for 30 plus years, an avid, very, very enthusiastic, I should say, person who loves to share all the different qualities and personality traits of all the different signs and compatibility, why people hang out together. It's quite phenomenal, and I find it very, very accurate as well. So hopefully you will too. Also, I read 4 major categories for the month, but because we are at the latter part of the month now, usually whenever you watch any spiritual reading, it's exactly when you're supposed to watch it. It doesn't really have a time per se, but because it is later on, I'm going to be changing the categories accordingly. And what that basically will be 4 categories. One being the overall energy for the latter part of this month. Second being the financial aspects that could come along for you and the energies being read from the tarot oracles I love to use. Third would be the love connection, and I always make it very clear I pick a love connection for each and every featured sign that I read for. And that could be someone, of course, deep romantic love, already committed relationships, certainly new people coming in, friendships, family, animals, plants, any kind of love, self-love, love of life, that's a big one. Love nonetheless, because love is a very powerful, necessary emotion and part of each and every one of our lives. So that's what will happen. The final category is wishes and surprises. So I really like that one a lot. And then I'm going to finish with 2 oracles, like I usually do. And that'll be it. But we'll get started right away because I want to make sure and complete my own personal obligation to read for every sign every single month. And it usually takes me half a month. I do it generously, but I do it at my own pace as I am a massage therapist, and so I come and go as I can, and then whatever else may come into life, as we all know. But let me say this first and foremost. I'd like to add some of the most important aspects in the sky and astrologically that are happening as an aspiring and very, very fascinated, interested astrologist. Not an astrologist per se, but working towards that, and will continue to. So we are on the precipice, and well, basically the night before the new moon in Leo, and we are in Leo season. And I don't know about you personally. These are general readings. I'm reading to hopefully a good amount of people of all different signs and beliefs and all sorts of wonderful things that we all add to this world. But I will say that this time of year, which happens every year in Leo season, is one of my favorites. It is summer. Leo is the sign that is a fire sign. Leo is the confident, regal, proud lion, just sun ruled. Now the sun is the brightest star in the galaxy. It is what gives us our energy. It is what the vitamin D comes from that we pay in supplements, right? Big for those of us that don't get out in the sun that much. And it also is just this illumination that brings inspiration, brings creativity, brings excitement, brings sensuality and physicality and just all the beautiful things. And it's there for us every single day. Even when it's cloudy, the sun does come out. That's something we can rely on, and I love that. not so mystical, right? But, well, mystical, but not so mysterious. And so that's what we're in right now. And with this new moon happening in the sign of Leo, it always excites me to no end. Every new moon is always an opportunity for us to start again, put out special intentions, bring out the parts of ourselves that maybe we were keeping dormant, really just very strongly and very courageously deciding to make and change things or do things that we hadn't to this point, and in any area of your life. And that's what's being brought to us. This new moon is a fantastic new moon, and I've been watching beautiful astrologers I've watched for many years who are extremely knowledgeable and very professional, and they have mentioned the aspect of Mars and Uranus that will be in the picture. And this is happening once again tomorrow, the 28th. And I believe it's early in the morning where I am in Northern America. So it could be different in Europe, and it usually happens a day later a lot of times. So depending on where you are, you're already probably feeling it. I woke up feeling it. I had finished my, tests and things I had to do, and I said, okay, here we go. I wrote down my intentions because I believe in that profoundly, that we are creating our life every moment and manifesting. And when we write these things down, somehow, for myself, and I've noticed many, many people and friends too, when you write it down, it's just another level of energy that makes things occur. And so I'm all about that. And I always bring it to the most positive possible side possible. And I just really feel incredibly good. So the Uranus-Mars aspect is there, yes, but is it the most potent part of this? I would say no, and I've even heard that from other astrologists, and I'm glad. The Mars-Uranus aspect is going to be quite powerful in itself. It really depends so much on your personal chart, so you want to look that up, and what position your Mars and or Uranus is in. But even so, Uranus is a very, very powerful masculine shifter. I'm trying to figure out what shapeshifter. That's what I was trying to say. Shapeshifter of life. Starting new things, unexpected changes, unbelievable transformations. We've had so much energy from Pluto, which is the planet of transformation. Now, mind you, Pluto is in retrograde, and that's fine. That happens every year as well. That's an outer planet. So, but it's still happening. It's still very, very strong within all of us. And I've noticed it in myself. I don't know, like I said, particularly with you, but it could be the smallest thing that you need and have felt strongly about changing and then making it happen, particularly now with this new moon. Mars, of course, as well as Uranus, are very powerful, fiery kind of, masculine energy that can be quite volatile and quite disruptive. And yes, is that happening in the world? Absolutely. We have Uranus in the sign of Taurus and has been for years, will be through 2026. Taurus is the earth sign. Taurus is of anything practical, anything we can feel, touch, see, tangible aspects. So when Uranus is in the mix, who's all about freedom and, starting things new and changing the status quo, Taurus is just the opposite, stable, secure, rigid almost, steadfast, fixed sign that is determined to do things one way and then just can not that they don't change, they have to change. They recognize that in themselves on their own accordance, though. That would be the difference. In their own time, they are very patient. They are very, steadfast in order to, accomplish what they want to do. And what they do is for the long term, which I think the combinations is amazing and phenomenal. These new opportunities, new ideas that you put into the mix in our life that's grounded into our everyday occurrences, our health, our homes, our family, the things, like I said, that are very important on the earthly plane. I don't know, it's a lot, but that's a portion of this new moon, yes. But what I think is the most important part of this new moon for every one of us And for all of those that are watching, and for the featured sign today of Scorpio, which I hadn't mentioned yet, beautiful water Scorpio, the moon is in Cancer for the latter part of most of the rest of the day until it goes void. And then the Leo new moon is starting at around 2:35 northern, Pacific time, I guess it would be Pacific Standard Time. And so Cancer is so beautiful for you, Scorpio. But I'm getting back to you, I promise. I'm just sharing with you what's going on for everybody. And you probably are very in tune to this because as a water sign, you are very much about your feelings and your senses and your intuition, your capabilities of sensing and knowing things well beyond a lot of people probably in your everyday world. And so, yeah, Cancer's been great for you. It's a very harmonious thing. But the main, I think, thing we can take out of this beautiful new moon in Leo is that strength, courage, belief, wanting to focus on things we want, having that me kind of ego thing. Sometimes it's absolutely necessary. And then also it's in beautiful connection trine with Jupiter, which has been in the sign of Aries, the fiery sign of Aries. Yes, Mars rules Aries. Yes, it's actually going into retrograde, this Jupiter aspect in Aries, the most benevolent, one of the most benevolent planets that gives incredibly beautiful opportunities. It comes into our sign every 12 years. It's about luck and love and prosperity and abundance. And it's there for all of us. But if you do have placements in Aries, of course you're going to feel it more. And even though Jupiter is going into retrograde, it does not take away its power completely. It lessens it somewhat. It then becomes more internalized when we have the retrograde aspect, like with Mercury retrograde or any planet that retrogrades. It's still that it has its energies, and it can almost be better in some respects, because I was reading and seeing that when Jupiter does go into retrograde, it tends to bring things back another second time. The good things, right? Because I'm always a focuser on the positive. I can always go to the negative. It's an easy thing to do for all of us. And there's shadowy aspects of everything I talk to you about, but I'm going on the positive side. So that's what we can expect. And I'm getting goosebumps and energy that's coming through just talking to you about this beautiful new moon. And by the way, it will last certainly 2 weeks, certainly through the next new moon. That'll happen. I'm sorry, I don't really know. I know the full moon will happen, I believe it's Virgo full moon in August on the 11th. And then it'll be a full moon at the end of the month. I could be mistaking that. I apologize. I'll get back on that. This new moon could last literally some of the energies that come through that are beginnings that you start until next year's new moon in Leo, because we get one new moon and one full moon in each of our signs. So now back to you, Scorpio. You're right next to, I was going to say you're next to Leo. I apologize. You're not next to Leo. But what I will say is that you and Taurus, that is going to be a part of this new moon and has been a big part of Uranus, because Uranus has been in Taurus for some time now. It actually started, I believe, in 2018. When we really started to see the changes in the Earth atmosphere, the fires and things that were actually happening, it's very, very, very real as to what we're being shown and guided with this astrology, scientific, studies that have been going forever. You are a part of the new, series, I should say, not new, but the series of eclipses. And we will be starting to feel that at the end of August again, because then they'll have the eclipses happening in your sign and in the sign of Taurus in late October and November. So there's that, and what you've already brought and are continuing to bring to us as time has gone on for, 18 months or so is when these eclipses happen in the pairs that they do. It started last year in 2021 with Taurus, the latter part of November, and then the two that occurred in May and June, I believe. It's really still happening. The messages are coming through, and It's about depth. It's about transformation. You are ruled by Pluto. So you fully understand that, and you thrive on that, and you help people to understand it and to go deep. And you know, your recesses are very deep when it comes to the watery aspects of yourself. So I can just feel some incredible changes for a lot of people, and I think it's going to make their lives so much better, if for no other reason, just because they faced a truth that they hadn't before, perhaps. But I'm going to pick your highlighted sign that Spirit always wants to share with each of my signs, love connection. And that's going to be for the remainder of the month and onward, I would imagine, because, you know, you never know. Could be someone, as I said, you may know or be with. Certainly someone that could be coming in. Any retrograde tends to bring things and people back. So there's that, and it's kind of exciting, you know, to have that happen. It's like a side effect of retrograde. But I've enjoyed it because I have had people touch base with me in the past that I hadn't seen or heard from forever, and then a retrograde comes, and sure enough, you're like, wow, it's uncanny. So for you, beautiful Scorpios, excuse me, I'm tripping over my words, but I just want to reiterate how incredibly powerful this time can be for regeneration and the transformation to take place and really just take hold. And I'm going to do it again because it went in the center. So for Spirit to let us know, you know, what guidance it can give and what particular love connection is the best for information and guidance in the month of July for Scorpio. Once again, it went in the middle. That's interesting. Three's the charm. Gemini, okay. Gemini, well, that's interesting. Gemini is an air sign. Gemini is Mercury ruled. Gemini has an interesting placement happening this year, and it's going to be a big one. It starts the shadowy period once again, you know, because there's always on either side of any Mercury retrograde or any retrograde, there's a shadow period of you starting to feel it and things kind of working up to it, you know, like working out before the exercise. And then the actual period of the retrograde, and then a shadowy period afterwards. So long story short, Mars is going to go into Gemini the latter part of August, I believe, shadow period wise. It then enters into it, I'm believing, the last part of October, and then through January, I believe, and then it retrograde, the shadowy end ends like in March. I mean, it's 7 months of Gemini Mars. Now, Mars is once again the volatile, you know, fiery, passionate, you know, make change happen, let's get with it, you know, fast moving, energetic. So yes, it's all wonderful. If you have any placements, Scorpio and air, it's going to be notable. Any air signs and every, you know, fellow air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra to Gemini, will definitely feel it. It has positive influences, of course. The retrograde aspect will lessen that, of course, but then again, it once again goes into really being real with ourselves and saying, okay, maybe I won't have the energy I've had in the next few months. Maybe it's time to reevaluate, redefine, rebrand. All the re's come into play with the aspects that Mars can present to us and prevent. But for you, I like it a lot. I've known a lot of water and Gemini, and I think it has a lot to do with their placements of chart. It's not the most harmonious, if you will, or you know, synergetic, I guess you could say, energies like fire and air or water and earth. They're probably the best compatible, or certainly your own sign, you know, air and so forth. But it really does work because there's just this, there's a combination of heart and mind that happens with the two, water and air. And when you have both of those, you really have it all. You know, when you found that balance, when you found that you can, you know, allow both of those to work in tandem, and it's just, it is a wonderful place to be in your body, in your mind, with the outer world. And you can always ask for that. You can always pray about that or meditate on that, or, you know, watch readings or any of those things, which I think will be pertinent as these months go by and this energy is pretty intense. With the, you know, eclipses and such, they're important, but they kind of give that extra energy of, oh, and you know, Gemini has that anyway. They're pretty fast. They, you know, mercurial mind, and they're always about all types of topics, and they like great conversation, and they like to be around and socialize and have fun, and they're changeable, intelligent. I mean, this is kind of really exciting to you in a lot of ways, Scorpio, and you really observe and you kind of take things in, and we all learn from each other for sure. So I like this a lot. I find there's going to be more of an element of fun and curiosity, because that's absolutely what Gemini is, and just maybe some interesting physical intimacy that's not been, you know, attempted before. Attempted. I don't know if that's the best way to word it, but I'm feeling it's really good during this passionate time of Leo season. And then, you know, who knows where it goes from there. But bear that in mind with this Gemini. It may be someone you know, or like I said, somebody may be coming in, or just the energy. Just that feeling that you want to express more, you want to connect more. Not something that Scorpio, not all Scorpios, certainly Scorpios I've met are incredibly outgoing and social and everything. But there's something about you that's wanting to come out more. And that's what I really feel from this love connection. So let's go on to your reading of the 4 major categories. I am using this beautiful Gilded Tarot deck. It's one of my favorites, and I see a lot of readers using it now. It feels good, and it has great, I get information very easily from it. So, and that's what I do. I just simply like to share the information that I'm getting from the symbols, of course, and the divination aspects of the, you know, the tools I use, but also the messages that come through because I ask them to, and it's beautiful to be able to convey that to you. So the overall energy that you've had for July, and now moving on as we go past the mid-month and to the end of the month, has been the 7 of Pentacles. So there's that energy of Earth. There's the real contemplation of where you're at, what you've done this far, in your, you know, grounded earthly life. And I say that because to me, many water signs that I've known, and Scorpio in particular, have a very spiritual kind of spiritual energy that goes beyond the earthly realm. I'll just put it that simply. And so you're really more inspired. And I can understand it too during the Cancer season that we were just in prior to Leo, of just really kind of wanting to be as comfortable, as secure. Something very important to Cancers, you know, maybe more focusing on the people that matter the most to you, family, whoever you consider family, certainly good friends, but also your work, what you do for work, the value. You are the 8th house. You represent the 8th house. You represent the Death card in the Tarot, which is all about change and transformation and life and birth and regeneration and, you know, just the cycles of life. And you delve into that. You're not afraid of that, and you like to share that. But with you, I think it's more of a grounded energy of like, I've done well, I'm continuing to do well, I believe in my worth, and I want to make absolutely sure that I'm fulfilling my own needs, which comes back to the whole thing of Leo and the me thing. It's okay to have that. We all need that. When we're happier and we're content with who we are, we're just better people to other people. They want to be around us more. That energy is contagious. You know how that can be. Happy people are like, oh, that looks like fun. I'm going that way. That's not for everybody. I know there's a percentage that don't necessarily get attracted to that. But I feel like you just really have been very in deep thought, you know, and I think that you have some new ideas. I really do. And I think they could be quite prosperous and profitable, as the 7 is leading to the 10 of Pentacles, which is the best in the Tarot. It's not that far away, but just making sure that you feel you are in the right place, and that you are going to continue to feel that way. Maybe you want to add something, I don't know, but that's something that I want you to consider as the overall energy in July. And let me tell you, we're heading into August, you know, in another few days. It's the 8th month. 8 in numerology, simply put, the energy of an 8 is extremely powerful, extremely abundant, very prosperous, and extremely great when it comes to manifesting, which is something I know with every bit of my heart that you are extremely capable of, and maybe recognizing more than you have for some time now. I personally am as well. So I love that a lot. That's not a bad thing. This is leading to some very positive energies. And then it's almost like, yeah, picking and choosing too, you know, being your own best, well, detective, because you're like the detective of the zodiac anyway. You like to really dig deep and, you know, unveil secrets, and truth is a big part of what's been happening in the world, and it will continue with the aspects of you and Taurus in the eclipses aspect of truth being prevailed, like it or not. Bam, here it is, right? The second category is that I mentioned of finances. So there you go. You've been contemplating and asking yourself about your values. Should you perhaps ask more for what you do? Are you interested in maybe doing less hours, working smarter, as they say? And so for finances, ooh, okay, you have the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands, now remember, it doesn't mean it's a female per se, it's a female energy. It's a, yeah, the feminine energy that we all have. We have either male and feminine within ourselves. It's that intuition, spot on, fiery, kind of passionate. It's the Leo. It's the Leo Aries, and it is the Sagittarians of the zodiac. Now, when it comes to the wands and the kings and queens, they're very mature and very confident, to say the least. When they have a desire, when they have their mind put on something, their whole being and physicality and spirit goes into it. Passion to the nth degree. Okay, that's all they know. They have an idea, they go for it. It becomes a reality. They help people along the way. They're very interested in doing that. And they also are quite, I would say, magical in its own right. I don't see a cat in this one. Maybe it's because I don't have my glasses on. Let me double check. Usually there's some indication which represents the magician or the magical part, the mystical part of life. But there's this very, very strong, confident stance here. And it looks to me almost like a magical, you know, I can't even think of it right now, but that's not unusual in these later days. But, you know, a crystal ball, if you can see. Piercing into that and imagining and seeing what your future can and will bring, because you're bringing it on yourself. This is powerful stuff. You are definitely in the energy of this new moon, and you have been in the energy of Leo season, probably having invitations and going out to parties with Leos. They have some of the best parties, bar none. So I like that very much. When it comes to your finances, you're very, very capable of great achievements and prosperity. So you've pondered it, and now it's like, okay, this is what's happening. Bam, okay? No hesitancy, no self-doubt, no, you know, criticisms, which, you know, the Pluto aspect of yourself can bring about. No, you are very surefire, confident at this point. The third category is going to be that of love connections, and this is great and perfect, and it fell out, so it is for you, and it's the Sun. And oh my gosh, is this not perfect from everything that's been said? This is Leo season, and the new moon is Leo, and Leo rules, or the sun rules Leo. And we all are affected by that, and you most certainly are. One of the happiest, most productive, prosperous cards in the deck of tarot. And that has to do with love too, and creativity, and love of life, like I said, love of self. Something in you has just blown up, you know. Now for me personally, I can just tell you that I had, you know, a huge hip surgery that I had put off for years. And then I had these little tests I had to do just because I want to make sure that everything is in order. And I am basically the person that I was, and yet to me, a new person again. So there's nothing stopping me. And if there's any similarity to that in your life, trust me, this is what this is showing. Okay? And any person that has maybe Scorpio placements, you know, please watch your sun, moon, your ascendant, and your Venus placement readings too, because they all are part of the mix. There's so much to all of us. And you as a Scorpio know that. So go for it. Indulge, okay? This is fantastic. There's some very bright feelings and, you know, just incredible love connections happening right now. And may they flourish and last a lifetime, you know? With this Uranus unexpected, maybe commitment happening, maybe just flash out of the blue, somebody coming you hadn't spoken to, and it's on completely. So that is fantastic. The final is, like I said, the category of surprises and wishes. And I love your reading thus far, but I'm interested, of course. And so, as I said, this can last a very long time. And I think a lot of that has to do with each and every one of us individually and what we're really wanting and how we're providing that for ourselves. And you have the Six of Pentacles. So, for wishes and surprises, the Six of Pentacles is one of them. I love it because I'm a Libra, and the Libras are about balance and fairness and giving and receiving and reciprocity, okay? And this is a surprise to you as well, because I feel like in a lot of ways you have not necessarily experienced that, but trust me, that's changing in ways that you may not even be able to surmise. But also the fact that this is once again an earth energy, and there's that Taurus, Uranus, Taurus aspect that's been going on and will be going on for a while, where maybe something coming in that you had no idea about, inheritance, taxes, something owed to you that you just, it's an incredible blessing to say the least. And it's also a card that shows that when you receive, you absolutely give, but you do make sure that you're not giving it all away. You do have to care for yourself. You do have to think of the future in some regard. I mean, some people will say, oh, live for the moment, and I agree, and I do want to stay as present as possible, but nevertheless, it makes a lot of sense. And I know you know this, Scorpio, you're very resourceful, very careful and understanding about your money, that when you give, you do receive. It's just a natural law of attraction. But also being very mindful, which is what brings me back to this. So you've got bookends of the Pentacles. You're focusing very much on your life and your, you know, your finances, your security, and making sure that when you give, but you don't give so much that you're depleted and you have nothing. I've learned the hard way that way. It's like you think you're being so great. Oh, here, take it. I don't need it. Well, yes, we do need it. And yes, so those that are wise will understand that and learn in time. And I truly love this reading for you, Scorpio. Now, I'm going to click the, read to you your rune oracle, which is one of my favorites. And it seems to always be very beautifully synchronistic with the readings I've done so far. So I'm going to continue to do it. Plus, I'm wanting to memorize them as I go along, but I use my flashcards, and I'll finish with the beautiful, actually the Mastery of Love card, picked just for you. Because I know when you love very deep, and you're extremely loyal, and you care greatly about that. So this time of year is also really good for you in a passionate way. And we have this rune, and I want to say it's Inez, but I'm not 100% sure. It looks like an I. It doesn't mean that it is, because a lot of times the alphabet that the runes are completely different than the English alphabet. So I will simply look up that rune, and here it is. I apologize. It is an I, and I'm grateful for that. It's Iza. Its pronunciation is Iza, like an E. And it's ice and stillness. The rune is number 11, and I love 11. It's a master number. But at the same time, although you don't normally convert a master number, 11 does become 2. And 2 is about partnership, and 2 is about relationships, correct? So there's something very important in that regard. I'll read on for you. Keywords: impasse, immutable, slow to change, solidness, conservative. Well, that certainly makes me think of the energies of the Taurus energy I mentioned, which, by the way, like I said, has been and will continue to be the energies, the strong energies that will last for months of the eclipses. So we've already had the one, and it's still coming through, and then we're going to have the second session of it, and that's going to bring even more truth, understanding, and perhaps conservative energies for a lot of us. You know, that we're usually kind of like, oh, let's just spend this here and that. I'm going to think twice. I'm going to invest it in a different way now. I'm thinking more about my future, maybe 6 months, a year, 5 years, who knows? That's individual. But that's what I'm feeling from this message. Magical working, return to what was, stop changes, holding one's ground, avert a disaster. Well, that just makes sense. You're thinking ahead, like I said, and this shows so clearly, so very clearly and very beautifully in line with the reading. And then the altruism being, you know, a fair type of thing. Don't give it all away, but definitely the more you give, the more you get. That's just the reality of life, and I love it. Key phrases: no movement until the ice melts. What was before and will be after. Timeless stability. Ice, nothingness versus fire, creation, life. Fire, okay, so see the change and the transformation and the sun kind of energy coming through, melting that ice, melting the water. I mentioned there's the Scorpio, icy water maybe sometimes, and then that melting. This is quite phenomenal when you think about it. It's perfect. Imperceptible movement, glacier pace. So very slow, but very, I wanted to say calculating, but very thought-provoking kind of movements. Nature reclaiming human efforts, slow to change, stubborn resistance, strong will. That goes back to the Taurus energy. And sometimes I think it's really important to be stubborn when it comes to certain things, and knowing you're going to do whatever you can to make it right, and to be as kind and as compassionate as you can be to yourself, to others, to your relationships. That's the kind of stubbornness I'm completely in favor of. I hope you are as well. And let me finish with the beautiful message that I will pick just by kind of shuffling through these and then doing my little spiel here. I would love it if you would please become a subscriber of my channel and push the like button if you liked what you saw. I've been doing this for a while. There are some things and changes I have coming. It's going to require some help from other people. Nothing drastic, you know. I'm still who I am, and it's always going to be different than the next person, which is what makes us all so individual. But I also will continue and hopefully grow my channel, and that's what YouTube likes to see, people liking it and sharing it and so forth, and then they will work with me more. And so that I will say in a humble way and appreciative way, because those that have really made me feel very happy and grateful. And so your last message, beautiful Scorpio, is, I love it right off the bat, to master love, you have to practice love. Well, go figure. What a concept. It's true though, you know, I mean, even like I said, if it's with yourself, or, you know, like I have a beautiful cat that I love a lot. And I mean, he gets on my nerves for sure, but there are times that I think, this is all I need. I just love his companionship, you know. He's an animal, I'm an animal, we're different, but we just jive. Animal lovers understand, I'm sure. So anyway, that's a form of love, of course. The art of relationship is the whole mastery. And the only way to reach mastery is with practice. To master a relationship is therefore about action. It is not about attaining knowledge. Now, I don't remember ever reading this card. I've had this deck for like 15 years. It's interesting. It's interesting, and I always take in everything. But I love the whole of what this is saying, and that is so true with everything. In order to get to a better place or become better at it or mastery, you do have to practice it, and love is no exception. And I love you for being here. I love you for taking the time. And I hope you come back, because I will be here in August, and I'm hoping I could just like power through them all. No more tests, no more anything else to divide my time other than my other job. But take extremely good care. I look forward to perhaps commenting. That's the other thing when you subscribe. You can comment, and I always respond, because I love that about being on a YouTube channel. So until then, thank you again wholeheartedly. Bye for now.